Hello, today's story takes place in Hong Kong. In the southwest of Hong Kong Island, there is a small island called Lei Chau, which covers an area of only 1.3 square kilometers, but is home to 90,000 residents, making it the most densely populated island in the world. Lei Chau, in Cantonese, means duck tongue, because its long and narrow shape resembles a duck's tongue, hence the name. And today's story unfolds here. The main character of the story is named Vu Huangok, 25 years old, and she is an accountant. She is good at communication and has many friends. She once checked her fate and love luck online and found that she was surrounded by peach blossom luck. However, a master later told her that she needed to be restrained. If she was not careful, she could even face mortal danger. Unexpectedly, the master's words turned out to be true. So what happened to her? Next, we will go back to October 27, 2010. On October 27, 2010, it was a Wednesday. At 8:30 a.m., several anglers went fishing at the coast of Lei Chau. In the bright sunlight, the sea breeze gently blew across the sand, and the sea surface shimmered like silver. But contrary to the romantic scene, near the sandy shore of South Inner Path, the anglers discovered an object drifting in the sea. Curious, they put down their fishing rods and walked closer to inspect. The sight in front of them shocked them. It was the body of a half-naked woman drifting with the water. After calming down, they immediately called the police. The police quickly arrived at the beach and brought the victim's body ashore. The victim was a female, about 1.6 meters tall and around 25 years old. The victim was lying face down, with her back turned upwards. The upper body was clothed in a gray shirt, while nothing covered the lower part. There were wounds on her hands and neck, but they were not severe, likely caused by hitting the reef while drifting in the sea. That evening, images of the incident were reported by the media. The next day, several people came to identify her, and the police confirmed the victim's identity as Vu Huangok, 25 years old. The day before, Vu Huangok's parents received a phone call from her colleague, asking why she did not go to work. The couple was extremely puzzled. They mentioned that their daughter did not sleep at home the night before, but had called to inform them. Throughout the day, they tried to contact their daughter, but to no avail. It wasn't until the evening, when they watched the news on TV, that they were shocked to recognize the girl's body on Lei Chau as looking very similar to their daughter. At this point, they suspected something bad had happened to her. Since the victim had only recently died, her face was only slightly swollen and distorted. Coupled with a vaccination scar on her arm, they were certain it was their daughter. According to the investigation, Vu Huangok was born in 1985, originally from Huizhou, and moved to Hong Kong with her family at the age of 12. She was the eldest in a family of 5 siblings. The 7 of them lived together in Kwai Shing East Village, Kwai Chung. Vu Huangok graduated in tourism from the Hong Kong Language College. After graduation, she changed jobs many times within 3 years, having worked as a trainee at a bakery, an office staff at a car repair shop, etc. Before her death, she was working as an accountant at a company in Shenzhen and was considering changing jobs. Vu Huangok was very beautiful and had many suitors, but none of her relationships lasted long. mostly ending within a few months after meeting through work. Her close friend Jenny said that Vu Huengok always attracted everyone's attention, and many men were enamored with her. However, she wanted to marry a foreigner and settle abroad, so she especially focused on foreign men. She often frequented Lan Kwai Fong, a hub of bars, and never stopped looking for a suitable boyfriend. In February 2010, Vu Huengok met a German man named Thomas at work, and they quickly fell in love. Just 2 months into dating, she introduced him to her parents and openly declared their relationship on social media, writing "I love you" in German to express her feelings. Thomas also promised to take her to live in Germany. However, he was later transferred to Beijing for work, and their relationship ended. Vu Huengok's dream of going abroad seemed close, but ultimately it was shattered. In great pain and despair, she sought out a master for fortune, hoping for advice. The master predicted that she had a charm in romance, but advised her to stay pure. If she continued to live recklessly, she could suffer great losses, or even meet an untimely death. Vu Huengok believed the master's words and began to change. Previously, she often went drinking with male friends until late and let them take her home. After hearing the master's advice, she switched to drinking alone and taking a taxi home after drinking. However, these changes couldn't save her. Vi Chidanunji's parents reported that on the evening of October 26, after finishing work, their daughter returned home as usual and went online to chat with friends for a while. Suddenly, she stopped talking and rushed out. They later received a call from their daughter, informing them that she was going to have drinks with friends at Lan Kwai Fong and telling them not to worry. Little did they know that this would be the last time they would hear from their daughter, who was later found dead. Vigache Denenj parents were heartbroken. They provided the police with some clues. Although Vigache Denenji AC had broken up with her German boyfriend, Thomas, in July of that year, Thomas had returned to Hong Kong, and they rekindled their relationship. Even after Thomas returned to Beijing, they continued their relationship. Occasionally, she made long-distance calls and once complained to her parents about the high phone bills. However, based on what she said, it was clear that she still had hopes for the future, ruling out the possibility of her taking her own life. When she left the house, Vi Chidanunjiasi was wearing tight jeans and a loose top, but when she was found, her jeans were missing. Typically, a loose top is more likely to be washed away by water. Her home was in Kwai Chung, and traveling from Lan Kwai Fong to Kwai Chung would require heading north, but her body was found 10 kilometers south of Lan Kwai Fong. According to Jiang Realhai, Vi Chidanunji had a former boyfriend named Ahai, who worked as a manager at a convenience store. During the investigation, Ahai told his current girlfriend that he had to work the night shift on the nights of October 25 and 26. The police confirmed that he was not at home on those nights, indicating he could potentially be involved. Ahai's current girlfriend also revealed that he had been behaving uncharacteristically lately, appearing absent-minded. The police immediately summoned Ahai to the station for questioning. He admitted that he still had lingering feelings for Via Chait Nanjiac. On the night of October 25, she stood him up. On the following night, October 26, he didn't meet her again. So he went out with friends until the following morning. His friends corroborated his alibi. After eliminating Ah as a suspect, the police began investigating the German boyfriend, Thomas. As Vigai Heidunjiaki's parents stated, Thomas and she had broken up once. During the 2010 World Cup, Thomas returned to Hong Kong, and they resumed their relationship. After the World Cup concluded in August, Thomas returned to Beijing for work, leaving Vihe alone in Hong Kong. Despite this, Vihe consistently missed her German boyfriend. She spared no expense on long-distance calls and even saved money to visit him in Beijing. However, Thomas was not in Hong Kong on the day of the incident, so he was not the culprit. The police visited Vihe home to collect personal belongings, including her computer. Based on the clues, within 2 days, the police summoned nearly 50 people, mostly men, for questioning. A Van, a restaurant employee who had worked with Vihe felt shocked and regretful upon hearing of her death. He admitted that he had developed feelings for her during their time working together and had attempted to pursue her, but was unsuccessful. Despite only working together for 3 months, Vihe was a cheerful, sociable person, beloved by everyone in the restaurant. 3 days after the incident, the autopsy report was released. The victim's limbs were stiff, foam was found around her mouth, and her lungs were swollen and filled with water, indicating she was still breathing while underwater. There were small blood spots on her eyelids, proving that she had suffocated while still alive, meaning her heart was still beating when she fell into the sea. Death by drowning was confirmed to have occurred between 7 a.m. and a.m., approximately 1 hour before she was discovered by a fisherman. The police divers searched for Vihe belongings along the coastline of Lei Chau but found nothing. The police suspected that she was murdered and her body was disposed of at Lei Chau Fraction docks. Among the 50 people summoned, one man caught the police's attention. His name was Al Kun Tong, 43 years old, standing 1.77 meters tall with a muscular build. He had once enrolled in the police academy and later became a patrol officer. Everyone thought his life would go smoothly from there. Unexpectedly, in his 7th year as a police officer, he was accused of attempting to assault a colleague's girlfriend. Another source revealed that he had been arrested for taking nude photos to blackmail someone. Regardless of the reason, Au Kun Tong was dismissed from the police force and served a 10-month prison sentence. Unable to find a job to his liking, Au Kun Tong resorted to working as a taxi driver. At that time, taxi driving in Hong Kong wasn't poorly paid, earning several thousand Hong Kong dollars per month, roughly 32 million VND at the current exchange rate. However, Au Kun Tong couldn't settle down. He was fined twice for driving while his license was suspended. To increase his income, Yu Ki-in, though caught up with the trend of offering tech-based taxi services. Vihe was one of his regular customers. The reason the police suspected Tukun Un and Suyu was because Vihe last call was to him. From October 26 to October 28, he called and texted her a total of 4 times. When reviewing surveillance cameras near the I Nam Street garbage dump, the police spotted a taxi appearing. Checking the vehicle records, they identified the driver as Yu Kai-en Tho Gi. The police summoned him to the station for investigation. Yu Kai-en appeared very distraught, crying while expressing worry because he hadn't been able to contact Viact Gingife recently and was very concerned about her, never expecting he might never see her again. The police asked him where he was on the night of October 26. Yu Kai-en claimed he was picking up passengers near Hjogc. However, this statement made the police even more suspicious because Hjogc and Pli Chiu are opposite each other across a strait. Hence, U Kian Thu and Yu could have committed the crime. Possibly realizing his slip, he then said that VYGANC called him that night to say she didn't need a ride. This explanation only increased his suspiciousness. Indeed, when inspecting Yu Kai-en Tho's taxi, the police found bloodstains in the car. He explained that he transported dozens of passengers daily, and it could have been left by one of them accidentally. Furthermore, there was a piece of fabric in the car's trunk, possibly from the coat that the victim was wearing. However, since the coat had been lost, it couldn't be confirmed yet. Later, the police discovered that at the start of the month, VIGINGC had gone shopping with a friend. This friend liked a coat, but it did not fit, so VIGANGC ended up buying it. The police contacted the coat manufacturer and obtained an identical coat for comparison. The examination results showed that the fabric in the trunk matched the coat. DNA tests also confirmed that the blood in the car was VIGENG's. With the surveillance footage near the Inam Street garbage dump, the police had sufficient evidence to arrest Du Kai-en Thu. 5 days after the crime, the police found Yu Kai-en Thu at a tea house in Keyulong. He was hooded, handcuffed, and escorted back to the police station. Confronted with irrefutable evidence, Yu Kai-en Thu could not deny the charge, admitted to the crime, and confessed everything. It turned out that between the taxi driver and VG, despite an 18-year age gap, there was an affinity. A year earlier, on a night in November 2009, Yu Kai-en Thu met VNAC for the first time. That night, she had been drinking in Eldenengi Qihjg and took a taxi home as usual. So, she got into the back seat of the taxi, dressed rather provocatively, exuding the sense of perfume and alcohol, which caught Du Kai-en Thu's attention. She was beautiful and had a captivating body, charms that left him enamored. VEGANGT, an open-minded person, chatted actively with Yu Kai-en Thu. She said, "I often drink at Eldingen QJHO Nungi and almost always have to take a taxi home in the early morning." Hearing this, Yu Kai-en Thu offered to drive her regularly. Unexpectedly, VGINGOC happily agreed, and they exchanged contact information. Over the next 3 months, Yu Kai-en Thu became VIGING's private driver. They grew closer, and their relationship deepened. Initially, VIGNJC half jokingly asked if he could reduce the taxi fare by 30% for her. Surprisingly, he agreed immediately. Starting in February 2010, they began seeing each other as a couple rather than driver and passenger. Du Kai-en revealed that he loved VIGINC at first sight, and began driving her to work for free. He paid for their dates and occasionally bought her gifts. Although not well off, Yu Kuai was willing to spend money on VGA, GNGC for love. Lacking funds, he would borrow from friends. Coincidentally, in February, VIG NJC started dating a German man named Thomas. Since then, she maintained relationships with both men. Yu Kuentho was aware that VIA Dynjin.C had a boyfriend. He knew that as a taxi driver, he had limited money and social connections, incomparable to her official boyfriend. By July, during the military exercises period, VH and Ungensi borrowed 10,000 Hong Kong dollars from UQQ to buy household appliances. Yuki and Ding seized this chance to have weekly heart-to-heart conversations with her. Unexpectedly, VIH Denon and C agreed. Yu Kai and Thu uneagerly transferred the money to her bank account, and their relationship grew warmer. Since then, every week, they would seek out secluded places like Yu Tri Mountain, Than Thoi Lon Bay, Long Ha Lon Bay to carry out their affair. They even created a code phrase, mailbox, to indicate their secret rendezvous in the car. Each time after their tryst, Vu Hinengok would receive 500 or $1 in Hong Kong dollars from Kian Tong. This ambiguous relationship lasted for 3 months. During this period, Vu Hiengok repeatedly asked Kian Tong for loans, citing various reasons. As time went on, Kian Tong became more deeply entangled in the affair, pouring more money into Vu Hiengok, even hoping she would leave her foreign boyfriend for him. However, Vu Hiengok was secretly saving that money for her future life in Germany. Time flew by, and on the 26th of October, Vu Hiengok again lured Kian Tong into sending a mailbox. That evening, after picking up Vu Hiengok in Lan Kwai Fong, Kian Tong drove to Long Ha Lon Bay, stopping at the entrance to a cemetery near Dai Than Ka village, a secluded and quiet spot with nothing but fish ponds around. They found the location satisfactory and began their activities. Unexpectedly, despite the remoteness, people occasionally passed by. Suddenly, a car approached, startling them and forcing them to stop and sit back in the car. Before they could redress, Vu Hiengok mentioned that her boyfriend, Thomas, would be returning to Hong Kong on the 1st of November. She smiled and excitedly talked about her bright future with Thomas, oblivious to Kian Tong's feelings. Already disrupted by the approaching car, and now learning that Vu Hiengok would soon leave Hong Kong, Kian Tong felt extremely irritated and uncomfortable. However, the worst was yet to come. Vu Hiengok then said something that felt like a cold slap to Kian Tong's face. She informed him that this would be their last meeting. To avoid her boyfriend finding out about the affair, she needed to end things with him. However, she still had a bank debt she couldn't let Thomas know about, so she asked Kian Tong for one final loan of 10,000 in Hong Kong dollars as severance. Upon hearing this, Kian Tong angrily exclaimed, "I treated you so well, went into debt because of you, and this is how you treat me." They engaged in a heated argument in the car, which quickly escalated into a physical struggle. As both of them were undressed, Vu Hiengok used her elbow to strike Kian Tong in the groin. Writhing in pain and losing control, Kian Tong, in a fit of rage, attacked her, and then used both hands to choke her for 2 minutes until she passed out. Terrified, Ao Kien Thong believed he had killed her. In reality, Vu Hien Gok was not yet dead. Panicked, he threw her underwear, jeans, and green shoes into roadside bushes, then crammed her body into the car trunk and drove to a seaside near the Dea Nam road garbage dump at Lei Chau. Around 9 p.m., he arrived, but due to many people fishing and filming, he had to wait. At 2:30 a.m., when the area was deserted, he disposed of Vu Hien Gok's body into the sea. Notably, if the timing is correct, Vu Hien Gok regained consciousness after being tossed into the sea and struggled for several hours. Following the incident, Ao Kien Thong used his experience as a patrol police officer to mislead the investigation. He made several calls and sent messages to Vu Hien Gok, asking her whereabouts, attempting to fabricate an alibi. According to the site description, after dumping her, he walked a trail to the sea, throwing Vu Hien Gok's body and her light blue handbag into the water. The dumping site was just 100 meters from where her clothes were found. The police were perplexed. The Da Nam Road garbage dump and the cemetery near Dae Than Kaw Village, Long Halon Bay, were 27 kilometers apart, requiring almost a 40-minute drive. Why didn't Ao Kien Thong dispose of the body at the cemetery instead of driving so far away? Ao Kien Thong claimed he was too panicked, his mind blank. Having been a patrol officer stationed at the Hong Kong Marine Police Headquarters, he was familiar with the area's terrain. Plus, he knew the procedures and methods of the Marine Police and could get information from his former colleagues, prompting him to drive there. On November 10th, guided by his instructions, the police found Vu Hien Gok's clothes in the roadside bushes, just as he had indicated. It took the police an additional 3 hours to secure the crime scene. Vu Hien Gok's parents were shocked upon learning the suspect had been apprehended. They recognized Ao Kien Thong and confronted him, asserting he was the man from that day. As it turns out, on the second day after the crime occurred, Ao Kien Thong proactively called Vu Hien Gok's parents, introducing himself as a taxi driver and also as a friend of Vu Hien Gok who was searching for her. Ao Kien Thong then even drove Vu Hien Gok's parents to the morgue to identify their daughter's body. Vu Hien Gok's parents were very touched to see that someone cared about their daughter this much. In an interview with reporters, they stated, "We were terrified when we thought back to the fact that we had sat in the car with the man who killed our daughter, just inches away from a murderer." In the hearts of Vu Hien Gok's parents, their daughter was an obedient and filial child who never caused them concern and always took care of her younger siblings. They were in immense pain and couldn't alleviate the grief of losing her. Vu Hien Gok's younger sister sobbed uncontrollably as she cleaned up her sister's belongings. On November 3rd, the Hong Kong prosecutor's office officially charged Ao Kien Thong. This date was also the day Vu Hien Gok was buried. 6 months after the incident, in April 2012, the trial of Ao Kien Thong took place at the Dongping Magistrates Court. Ao Kien Thong was accused of murder. At the trial, Ao Kien Thong learned that Vu Hien Gok was still alive when he threw her into the sea. He expressed regret and wailed in court, saying, "That was the greatest regret of my life." However, Ao Kien Thong did not admit to murder but only to manslaughter. The prosecutor argued that On Kien Thong did not kill due to a sudden impulse and was fully aware that Vu Hiengok was still alive when he threw her into the sea. On Kien Thong staunchly denied this, insisting that he thought Vu Hiengok was dead when he threw her body into the sea. If he had known she was still breathing, he claimed he surely would not have done so. On Kien Thong's lawyer argued that On Kien Thong had lent Vu Hiengok money multiple times, and that they had numerous financial transactions together. Vu Hiengok had a boyfriend, but maintained an ambiguous relationship with On Kien Thong. Therefore, Vu Hiengok was partially at fault in this matter. However, only On Kien Thong and Vu Hiengok knew what really happened that night. Now that Vu Hiengok was dead, On Kien Thong's testimony was one-sided and could not be verified. It was entirely possible that he had lied intentionally. After 8 days of trial, the jury reached a unanimous verdict. The defendant, On Kien Thong, was guilty of murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment. On Kien Thong's fate was sealed. After almost 3 years, he finally paid for his cruel actions. The rest of On Kien Thong's life would be spent in prison. However, not many people believed On Kien Thong's seemingly reasonable confession. Apart from the fact that Vu Hiengok was dead and could not confront him, another reason was On Kien Thong's bad reputation from before. He was expelled from the police force for misconduct or for taking nude photos to extort money, which made everyone despise him. After killing Vu Hiengok, he pretended to care, calling her parents while disposing of the body and creating an alibi. Truly deceitful and evil. There were even rumors that On Kien Thong often picked up customers in the Lan Kwai Fong area, taking advantage of drunken girls to bring them home and commit vile acts. Therefore, On Kien Thong was not as innocent as he claimed. In this case, from the discovery of the body to the capture of the perpetrator, it took less than a week, showcasing the quick and effective investigative capabilities of the Hong Kong police, which was acknowledged by the public. Chief Inspector Wong Tak Choi, who was in charge of the investigation, said the court's ruling accurately reflected the truth and the efforts of the police. He believed that anyone could see that On Kien Thong's testimonies and evidence were baseless. The victim might have taken advantage of the suspect, but they were not lovers and might have never been intimate. The case began with money and also ended because of money. Hopefully, money will no longer be an excuse for irrational human behavior. The Vu Hiengok case closed, leaving sorrow for the victim's family and a lesson for everyone. On Kien Thong had to pay for his crime behind bars, facing daily torment of his conscience. As for Vu Hiengok, the young girl with dreams of changing her life tragically because of her own mistakes. Perhaps if Vu Hiengok had been content with her current life and valued the sincere love from those around her, had she kept herself from the temptations of money and affection, the tragedy might not have happened. This story is also a warning to young girls who crave material things and are willing to trade themselves for a luxurious and vain life. True happiness cannot come from wealth or fame, but from sincere love and wise, right choices. The Vu Hiengok case is like an indelible scar, leaving pain and valuable lessons for all of us.